Welcome to our Mayoral Candidates Forum, presented by the League of Women Voters of Winnebago County and the Doty Island Development Council. I am Margie Davey, President of the League and tonight's moderator. The League of Women Voters seeks to inform citizens about major public policy issues and about candidates seeking office. We are a nonpartisan group, which means we never support nor oppose any political party or candidate. The forums we present are available on YouTube, and no audience recording is allowed, so please turn off your electronic devices. Be sure your phones are on silent. We don't want to interrupt with beeps and bleeps tonight or whatever. Public questions were solicited in advance. Those of you in the audience may also continue to submit questions. Just raise your hand and a league member will take them. Questions must be for both candidates and may not single out a candidate. Questions may be edited for brevity and clarity. And while we hope to cover as many as we can, we may not have enough time for all. Two candidates are competing to be the next mayor of Menasha. They are Austin Hammond and Rebecca Nichols. Candidates, please keep your answers concise so we may cover as many issues as possible. Our timekeeper will give you cues. Please heed the stop sign so I don't have to cut you off, okay? Concise answers will allow time for more questions. This is not a debate. You will each be given the same amount of time for each question. And we'll now begin with opening statements. You'll each have 2 minutes to summarize your background, qualifications, and your motivation to run for office. Why should voters choose you over your opponent? And we'll start with you, Austin.
All right. Good evening. My name is Austin Hammond, and it is an honor to be up here this evening to share why I want to be the mayor of Menasha. I'm running for mayor because I believe in the city, and I truly believe that our best days are before us. I want your place in the water to be more than a motto, but a way of life. If we make water the focal point, success is sure to follow. My wife Amber and I could have moved anywhere, but we chose to move to Menasha to start our lives together. Shortly after moving here, I had the honor of getting elected to the Common Council for the 4th District. While serving on the council and the Brotherton Indian Nation, I have listened, I've learned a lot, and I've led with conviction. My educational background is having an associate's in digital media technology from Northeast Wisconsin Technical College, a certificate in Irish business while studying abroad, a bachelor's degree in political science from UWO, and I'm currently working on my graduate degree in public administration, all in which are relevant for the role which I am seeking. My work experience has varied from a factory worker, retail manager, coordinator, and director. These positions have given me a great depth of knowledge and life experience. It is important to note that I have been entrusted in my current role to fill a position that requires a large magnitude of responsibility with financial record keeping, important donor and stakeholder meetings for funding, which will all be a good asset for the role of mayor. I have great depth of financial, managerial, community engagement experience throughout my employment. I understand the importance of collaboration and setting a vision. And my vision is this: that we are economically responsible, that we have a great sense of community pride, that we are environmentally sustainable, and that we're seeking affordable and accessible housing options for all in the city of Menasha. And because it seems to be something that comes up a lot, yes, my wife Amber and I are currently renting like nearly 40% of the folks that live in the city of Menasha. We've been looking for a house for well over a year, competing with skyrocketing cost, private entities swooping in cash offers, and increasing interest rates. We are excited to have our first home here in the city of Menasha, and I'm going to leave you with this. I promise to lead for tomorrow and be a public servant for the city of Menasha. Thank you.
Thank you, Austin. Rebecca.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here. I think about my dad a lot these days. He passed away just 2 months ago. When I told him last summer that I was going to run for mayor, he chuckled and said, "What do you want to do that for?" I said, "Well, Dad, every community deserves to have a qualified and experienced leader with a track record of service in the mayor's office. I am that person, and it's why I'm running." I was elected to City Council in 2013 after many years of volunteering in the community. I have 11 years experience working with city department heads, my council colleagues, and community members to provide the services you expect and deserve. I understand Menasha's finances and how to work with others to get things done. I am able to manage time, tasks, and people, and I know how to work through disagreement to reach consensus. As a supervisor on the Winnebago County Board, I've learned about the ways in which the city and county can be stronger partners. The past 11 years have seen tremendous changes across the city, and I'm proud to have played a role in all of them. I count the removal of lead from Menasha's water system and reopening Shepherd Park among my personal accomplishments. We've remade our downtown, built a modern public works facility, replaced the Racine Street Bridge, and seen enormous growth on our east side. We've launched a major renovation of Jefferson Park, added miles of trails, planted hundreds of trees, all while stabilizing taxes and maintaining services. I've been involved in all of it, sometimes even with a shovel. I also bring 20 years of experience living in this community, owning a home, and raising a family. I've been here long enough to know where we've been as a community and how far we've come. I am proud to call Menasha home, and I look forward to bringing my skills and experience to the job as your next mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Now I'm going to be asking some public policy questions that have been submitted in advance or by the public tonight at the forum. You will have 1.5 minutes to respond to each question, and I'm going to give the question to you first, Rebecca. What do you anticipate being one of the major issues in this term, and how do you plan on addressing it?
Did you say 1.5 minutes?
90
Wow.
seconds.
Wow, all right. Could you repeat the question?
Sure. What do you anticipate being one of the major issues in this term, and how do you plan on addressing it?
I see Menasha's core challenge as being able to continue to provide the services that you have come to expect and that you deserve, while still being able to grow our tax base to fund those services. And we all know that Menasha is a landlocked community. We cannot grow out, we cannot annex property into our city to increase that tax base. And so our opportunities lie within our boundaries. And so we have an opportunity to map out where our underutilized properties are, to redevelop our, I'm very nervous today. We have vacant properties that need to be redeveloped, and we need to take an active approach to that. Figure out what it is we want as a community, and then go after it. The opportunities are endless. Our neighborhoods are our biggest asset and provide a wealth of opportunity to stabilize our housing base and grow, to provide opportunities for families to come here.
Thank you. Austin?
All right, thank you very much. This is something that I think about a lot, and I talk to folks a lot while I'm out knocking doors. What are the things that are going to be on the horizon for us in the future, and what is most important? I think affordable and accessible housing is paramount to the future successes of Menasha, and we do this by taking a multifaceted approach. There is not a one-size-fits-all to the housing. Rather, it's a few right steps that, over combined time, we're going to address the issues. So working collaboratively with development and seeking with our community development. We have great staff for the city of Menasha, so working very closely with them who are the experts in their field, and being sure to seek out developments that provide a variety of housing for folks. We need folks to be able to have those choices, and that's what I'm about. Viewing housing as a life cycle, and we have opportunities for people at all stages in that cycle to find somewhere that they are proud to call home for homeowner, renter, and of all income. That is important. And another thing that I think is awfully important is making sure we're revitalizing our downtown. Those folks are working hard downtown, and they're the backbone of our local economy. Their businesses, I've seen so much energy, and it's so exciting. So I want to be a good ally and a good steward of their efforts. So making sure people go out of their way to come to our downtown. And I think we do that by highlighting your place on the water and really highlighting the abundance of water that we have. And then also just making sure we're maintaining and expanding essential services that we all want as constituents in the city. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, this question will go to you first, Austin. What do you think of our Main Street and downtown? Is it healthy and successful? If not, what would you do to change that?
Well, I'm really glad you asked me that question. I think our downtown has a lot of energy and it's unearthed potential. We have beautiful water, we have hardworking people down there, and I'm really proud to regularly attend the small business meetings that are going on. Those folks are trying to collaborate and think creatively for ways to make our downtown more inviting by doing different events like the Winter Market, in which I volunteered, by doing different collaborations with the 150th and buttons and doing different things like that to really bring the community out. So utilizing economic tools like TIFs if we need to. Because of TIFs, we've had a lot of economic growth downtown, and without them, we would not. And being sure that we keep moving the city forward in our downtown in a positive manner, that people go out of their way to come to Menasha to spend the day and shop local, that is important to me. So I'm really proud of our downtown. I'm proud of the people that are working down there, and I think we need to keep moving it forward, and I think we do that by highlighting our water, listening to the business owners, and working collaboratively.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Thank you. There definitely is renewed excitement and energy in our downtown. I've been here long enough to know where our downtown has been and how far it's come. An important transformation began 10 years ago when the One Menasha Center was built on the former Menasha Hotel site. I'm proud to have supported that project and those that followed. Downtown Menasha is a stronger and safer and more vibrant neighborhood because of it. The next step in securing downtown Menasha's long-term success and supporting our small businesses is a business improvement district, or a similar organization that represents and advocates for businesses and the overall health of the district. This is how we can leverage Menasha's motto, "Your place on the water," to attract public and private resources that strengthen the downtown area and our local economy. Green Bay, Appleton, Neenah, Oshkosh, Fond du Lac, every city along the I-41 corridor has this kind of organization. It's time to commit to exploring all the options and finding one that fits so Menasha can continue to build on our strong downtown and stabilize it for the next generation.
Thank you. Okay, this will go to you first, Rebecca. How has your experience on the council prepared you to be mayor, and what is your plan for a smooth transition?
Thank you. I have 11 years experience on the city council, and over that time, I've learned a lot about how to work well with others, how to work through disagreement to consensus. I have experience with the city's budget. I understand Menasha's finances. I'm able to manage time and tasks. And when we think about, when I talk about my personal accomplishments, removing the lead from Menasha's water system and reopening Shepherd Park, those were efforts that didn't happen with just a yes or a no vote. They happened over time. They took time working with people to come to an agreement, and that includes community members, members of the park board, members of the common council, and city staff. And so all of those experiences have prepared me for this moment, and I hope for a smooth transition. I'm not quite sure what one will look like, but I've thought about one, and I hope for a smooth transition, and that takes more than one person as well. It's a real collaboration.
Thank you. Austin?
My experience on the Common Council has been the honor of a lifetime to be able to work with the amazing city staff that we have, talk to the small business owners that are doing the hard work, and talking to residents to hear what their concerns are for the future of our city. I think sometimes when we think of experience, it's always tenure of time, but sometimes it's the depth of experiences. And while I've been on the Common Council, I've served on numerous committees. I've been out consistently in the community, and I'm proud of my record on the council and making sure we're taking care of the folks that work for our city, making sure we're taking care of the environmental health of our city, the economic health of our city. And because of those collaborative relationships that I've been able to establish, it's taught me that hard work is listening to people that might not see things the same way that you do, because you're going to get new ideas from the folks that you're working with, and understanding how government works, the different entities, the committees, and different boards that we all as council members serve on. And so I would say that my collaborative experience that I've had from being a council member, but also my experience outside of in being a director will help serve me well. So I think the experience of the Common Council and understanding the importance of the people's work, and that we all get 2-year leases to represent all of you that are here in this room, and how to work collaboratively with different entities and different boards and city staff. And for a transition, I would rely awfully heavy on the city staff because they are the experts. They are the ones that have put in the time to pursue the professions that they're in. So I would work closely with them, and I would set the vision for the next chapter of Menasha.
Thank you. You've got the timing down perfectly.
I tried that.
These guys are good.
Okay, this goes to you first, Austin. Managing the city's finances is about more than creating a budget. What experience do you have in bonding, borrowing, refinancing, and negotiating agreements? And tell us about your approach to growing Nina's, that was last night. Sorry. I represent all of Winnebago County. Tell us about your approach to growing Menasha's tax base.
All right. I'm not going to answer the part about Nina, but I will answer the part about my experience in the city of Menasha. So right now, in my day job, I'm a development director for a nonprofit science center, and I meet out with stakeholders all the time for funding for operational cost. I have meetings about exciting exhibits that we're imagining and starting from scratch. And I'm working with a lot of influential stakeholders for an exhibit on workforce development, because the next generation needs jobs that will offer socioeconomic benefits for them to leave generational wealth and to have good paying jobs. So we're trying in my day-to-day job, fundraising and doing all of that crucial work of setting a budget and doing all of that to make sure that there is somewhere that our kids can go and explore all of the different opportunities for jobs. So I think some of it is high level and philosophical. I want to be able, when folks ask me how I am going to justify how we spend, setting a budget that's conscientious and that we have a reason for how we spend. So setting that for my budgeting experience in the city council, my day job as a development director, and just really being conscientious with how we're spending folks' money, using different economic tools like TIFs and things like that to really influence and spur economic growth. And working with the downtown, hopefully that they form a bid one day and keep that economic growth moving forward. So I would say my experience and vision is collaborative. It's seeking out wisdom from those that have done it before, and it's setting a vision that we are taking care of people's hard-earned resources that they go in and out every day to work.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Could you repeat the question, please?
I will. Managing the city's finances is about more than creating a budget. What experience do you have in bonding, borrowing, refinancing, and negotiating agreements? And tell us about your approach to growing Menasha's tax base.
There's a lot in there. All right, we'll start with borrowing and refinancing. The important things about borrowing is the first step, and that's setting the plan. Every year, I've worked collaboratively with city staff to set that capital improvements plan. And then it's important to stick with the plan because we can't borrow endlessly. And sometimes along the way, there have come times when the Common Council said, well, maybe we just want to tuck that in borrowing, and I was the first to raise my hand and say, well, we can pay with that. We can pay for that with tax levy dollars, and we should, and not kick the can down the road. And I was successful on doing that on a number of occasions. I'm proud to have been part of refinancing the steam plant debt, which we will have successfully and finally completed paying off within the next few years. Development plans. I've been reviewing development plans for 11 years now, and I've always made sure that the city's best interest is represented in those development plans. As far as my approach to growing the tax base in Menasha, all of our opportunities lie within the city, and so it's important to find those properties that we can repurpose and develop or redevelop to grow our tax base.
Thank you. Okay. I'm sorry, but after my faux pas, I do have to ask this one.
It's only going to be a 30-second question. I don't anticipate it will take longer than that for you to answer. If you need more time, please ask for it. Would you be in favor of merging Menasha with Neenah or other neighboring municipalities? And we'll go to you first, Austin.
No.
Okay, see, I told you it wouldn't take long. Rebecca?
No, I do not support that. However, I think there are always opportunities to look for ways that we can work with our neighboring municipalities to accomplish things. And if that were to happen, of course, it would need to be in Menasha's best interest to do that. It would require a lot of research and analyzing the pros and cons of each of those opportunities.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's see. Whose question should this be? I'm backwards now. Who wants this one first?
It's my turn.
Okay, Rebecca wants it. Got it.
I didn't want it, I just said it was my turn.
Well, you haven't even heard it yet. We actually have 3 different questions all on the same subject, so whoever wrote these questions, I apologize. I'm trying to merge them. Just deal with it. What do you see as emerging housing needs in our community? How would you address them? And please be specific as to how you expect to accomplish that when the developers and investors are the ones who set the prices on rental properties. And for housing, come to think of it.
Thank you for the question. A consistent theme I've heard from residents and employers, not just residents, is the need for more and better places to live. And as mayor, I'd address this challenge with a 3-pronged approach. The first part is to prioritize code enforcement and make it a tool to ensure that our residents have safe and healthy places to live. This will also include making sure our housing code is up to date and enforceable. Part 2 is to proactively redevelop and repurpose vacant, abandoned, and underutilized properties throughout our community. This includes commercial, industrial, and residential areas that can be used to provide additional housing and small business opportunities. I've worked on such projects during my time on the City Council and the Redevelopment Authority. And as mayor, I'll identify and prioritize these opportunities so we can actively seek out developers instead of waiting for them to come to us with an idea. And the third part is to invest in our neighborhoods to ensure that all of them provide safe and healthy places to live for people in all stages of life, young professionals, families, and people who want to age in place. Affordability means different things, different things to different people, and I think it's important to have a variety of housing available that meets the needs of the community now and in the future. And the way we do that is with a workable plan.
Thanks. Austin?
The way that I would address, well, first and foremost, I can't tell you how many conversations I've had while out in the community. This is a thing that keeps folks up at night, and I think affordable and accessible housing is paramount to the success of the city of Menasha, and I think we really need to take a multifaceted approach. And one of the things we can do is maintain and expand programs like our Strong Neighborhood program, which I'm proud to be part of the Housing Authority. So with programs like that, we take care of our existing housing stock for the folks that are trying to invest in themselves. Second, we can collaborate with groups like Habitat for Humanity. I worked for them for 2.5 years for the Rock the Block program. I've knocked the doors and I've talked with people, I've organized the event, and I've helped them get through that program to make investments into their own home. And we also need to work closely with our community development to look for development opportunities that provide different variations of housing that are going to attract people to want to live in the city of Menasha. And like I said before, it's a life cycle. It's not a one-size-fits-all. So we need to make sure we have housing for people wherever they are at in their journey. And something that I've been hearing consistently from folks that are getting a little bit older in age is they look around and they don't want as much front lawn to mow, and they don't want as much house to clean, and they would like condos. And if we were able to look into developments for condos, that inherently opens up that housing for families starting out. So if we take a life cycle approach to housing, a collaborative effort with other entities and grants and codes, and do the best that we can really tackle affordability and accessible housing for all.
Thank you. Okay, this question goes to you first, Austin. Communication with the public is a big part of being the mayor of any city, and communication with other elected officials like city council, officials of other cities, and city employees is also important. What is your approach for communicating effectively with these very important stakeholders?
Communication is key, I think, to keep everybody feeling included. And as a mayor, I want to make sure that everybody has a seat at the table and is in part of the conversation. So when it comes to constituents, something that I really admire and that I would like to enact is doing mobile mayor office hours. There we go. So I would go to different parts of the community and I would hang out and I would listen and I would talk to them about their concerns. And then I would be able to give folks updates on the things that are going on in our community. And second, meeting with city staff on a regular basis just to see what's going on in their worlds, because we have numerous departments and everybody gets sometimes into the thicket of the nuances of their job. So being really able to keep those conversations going amongst city staff. And then I'd like to sit down with the members of Common Council when possible to hear what their visions and dreams are, what they're hearing from their constituents, and keeping up with current types of communication using updated website and different ways to communicate with people in different facets that really reaches them where they're at. Because I think being transparent, accessible, and communicating to the public is awfully important, and I will do everything that I can as mayor to make sure that folks feel heard and that I am accessible. I will be around, whether it's on the campaign trail or in the office of mayor. I will be accessible to my constituents here in the city.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Thank you. Could you repeat the question, please?
Communication with the public is a big part of being the mayor of any city, and communication with other elected officials like city council, officials of other cities, and city employees is also important. What is your approach for communicating effectively with these very important stakeholders?
Thank you. Communication is really important, and it's one of the things that I hear about when talking to folks out in the community. I've always felt that it's important to reach people where they're at, to be prepared to answer a question, no matter where you are. I firmly believe there's some low-hanging fruit that we can take care of as a city, and that is simply having a concise platform on social media as a way to reach people easily, to communicate about things that are happening in the city, to just communicate casually and in a fun way with our residents as well. We used to get a couple of newsletters a year in the mail, and I think getting mail with a letter from your mayor is a really cool thing, and we should get back to more of that. You'll always find me out and about in the community and having quarterly meetings with other stakeholders like the city council members, community leaders, and neighborhood meetings as well are important ways to see what's going on in the hearts and minds of folks around the community.
Okay, thanks. And coming back at you, Rebecca. You have both served on Menasha's City Council. What is an example of how you handled disagreements with other council members? I didn't write these questions, folks.
That's a great question. And I think at the end of the day, it's always important. I always remember that the folks I'm engaging with on the city council, we all have one thing in common, and we want what's best for the city of Menasha. We might express that in different ways. And at the end of the day, it's important to not take those things personally. And so over the years, I've worked really hard to build bridges with folks and to never, ever, ever throw anybody under the bus. Those are my general rules. And behind the scenes, it's always, important to maintain some sort of personal relationship with folks, because when you get to that meeting, those personal conversations and contacts can help inform how you'll behave in situations that might arise on the council floor.
Okay, Austin?
So one of the great joys of being on the Common Council is the collaborative nature of working with other people with different views on life, different walks of life, and just hearing different things from their constituents. So I've really enjoyed the banter that we've had. I enjoy the civility of it. I look at it as a unique challenge that we have to serve the residents in the city of Menasha well. An example that I'll present is I was newer to the council, and I am very proud of being environmentally sustainable, and I think it's crucial. And I proposed an ordinance for no mow May, and we brought it forward. There was lively discussion. Residents shared their opinions and that they were not satisfied with it. By and large, there's some folks that really like it. You know, it went to a 5-3. I was in the minority on that vote. And then when the next year came, instead of taking a approach of bringing something back forward that would perhaps inflame or make folks feel frustrated, talking to different stakeholders and learning from them and hearing why they did or did not like the policy, and rather take an educational approach to presenting a different variation that doesn't break the ordinance. Communities like the city of Kaukauna, city of Madison, doing low mow May and encouraging education that we found through the University of Minnesota to diversify their lawn, because it wasn't about necessarily the length of the lawn, but rather our pollinators and doing all that we can to take care of our pollinators, because it's important. So by taking a different approach and communicating, learning, and educating and working alongside the public, I was able to learn from that experience.
Thank you. No mow May is also something dear to my heart, or low mow. Okay, this one goes to you first, Austin, right? It's a two-part question. In what ways do you hope to emulate the legacy that Mayor Merkes has established? And what opportunities exist with a new mayor coming on board?
Yeah, I think that is a really wonderful question. I want to start with that. And I'm incredibly grateful to Mayor Merkes for his leadership and collaborative efforts in the city of Menasha to really bring it forward to where it is today. And I think ways that you can do that is just having the civility and the decency to meet with anybody and talk to them even if they adamantly agree with you. So I think that real mindset that when you're working with people, if you don't agree on, if there's X, Y, and Z and you only agree on X and Y, don't focus on the thing you don't agree on and find that commonality. So I think it's important to work collaboratively with people, be economically responsible, and look for development opportunities wherever possible that's going to leave the finances of the city better than how you found them. I think other opportunities as a new mayor is bringing forward a new experience in life, a new set of experience and perspective, but just having that fresh perspective in general. So as mayor, just bringing my other life experiences to the role and thinking things in a different light would be really important.
Thank you. Rebecca?
I know that was a two-part question, so I'm going to ask you to repeat it.
Okay.
Thank you.
In what ways do you hope to emulate the legacy that Mayor Merkes has established? And what opportunities exist with a new mayor coming on board?
First, let me say that I think Mayor Merkes has served the city well for the last 16 years. I remember where we were, and I know how far we've come. I've had the pleasure of serving alongside him for 11 of those years. And I think I've learned how he thinks about things, how he would approach problems, challenges, issues, concerns in the community. And as a new mayor, I would work really hard to simply be myself. I bring the experience of homeownership and raising a family to this job, raising a family in this community, and wanting to create a community that hopefully my kids will want to come back to someday and raise their families. And so those are the ideas and perspective that I bring to this job that haven't been present in Menasha for quite a long time. And so I'm very excited to bring that perspective along with the experiences that I've learned along the way and taken advantage of through my Leadership Wisconsin training that took me around the state, the country, and even the world to learn about how communities and local governments deal with address challenges in a time of changing economies.
Okay, thank you. See, you've got that time thing down too. Both are good at this. This is going back to you, Rebecca. What are your thoughts about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion? Should the city be doing something to make Menasha a more welcoming place to live for everyone?
I think Menasha has always had a place for everyone, and I hope to continue that legacy as mayor.
Thank you. Austin?
Yes, I think DEI is awfully important, and I think we need to do whatever we can to attract everybody to be able to be their full and authentic selves and to be proud to be a resident of the city of Menasha. I feel that I have a unique perspective in this topic as a member of the Brotherton Indian Nation and being a member of that council. I know what it's like to have those conversations with elected officials and not feel heard, and to have to ask to be acknowledged as one of the 12 in Wisconsin. And as mayor, I would do all that I can to make sure that everybody has a welcoming, vibrant community, that they can be their full selves and they can live up to their fullest potential of the American dream. So I think putting forward the effort really to have good, authentic conversations with people and really just look for ways that we can highlight, admire, and respect each other is really important.
Thank you. Okay, this goes to you first, Austin. It's a question about fundraising. I wasn't aware that mayors had to do this, but I guess maybe so. Fundraising is difficult and not always fun. What is your experience, and how do you see your experience benefiting the city of Menasha?
Yeah, so my day job, I do fundraising. I work in the nonprofit sector, and I work for a science center that is trying to provide quality educational opportunities and workforce development opportunities. I know how hard it is and how awkward it is to sit across from somebody and say to them, hey, can you please give us $50,000, and have to walk through the process of what you're all gonna do and be a good steward of that money. So I feel that this is an area that would be a strength for me because of my role as a development director, knowing the nuance of needing grants, fundraising, and the importance of collaborative partnerships in the private sector, nonprofit sector, and government entity sectors. Everybody has a stake, I think, in providing a good quality of life and to do really ambitious projects. Everybody, when you have a seat at the table, you can accomplish an awful lot of good. So I think my experience as a development director of fundraising would serve me very well in the role as mayor.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Such an interesting question, because cities are funded with your property tax dollars, and fundraising is not a sustainable funding plan for a community of any size. Fundraising can be used for park improvements, or there's a fundraising campaign to improve this beautiful facility over the next year. But it certainly isn't a way to provide the services that we deserve and expect as a community. And so I am a proponent of seeking out private and public partnership dollars that can really help us grow as a community, invest in our community, finding ways to create workforce development and job opportunities in our community by working with our labor unions and other folks to build those, to find those great family supporting jobs and help us with those opportunities that can grow our tax base in the future.
Thank you. Okay, back to you, Rebecca. In 4 years, at the end of your term, What 3 detailed objectives do you hope to have accomplished?
Thank you. I promise to focus on 3 things as your mayor. The first will be to continue the legacy of responsible spending in this community while providing and possibly enhancing the services that you expect and deserve. We all have a right to safe and healthy places to live, safe and healthy places to recreate. And so I'm going to focus on funding those things in a responsible way. I'm also going to spend a lot of time focusing on our neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods are our biggest asset as a community. We have a variety of housing, some of which is in need of a little TLC. I want to find ways to partner with private sector entities and our labor unions to create workforce opportunities and job training programs to fix those up, to build our tax base from the inside out, and make sure that we provide, as a community, safe, healthy places to live that will attract families so that we can sustain ourselves as a community. And the third thing is simply working together. I know that I can't do this by myself. I need the help of city staff, of community partners, and people like you to get the job done.
Okay, thank you. Austin.
So at the end of my first term as mayor, the things that I want to focus, to have accomplished and look in the rearview mirror and have really spent a lot of time with, first and foremost, is economic responsibility. And I think a few things fall under that umbrella. A big part would be downtown revitalization, making sure we're working with our small business owners to really accomplish an awful lot of good. I would love to see them form a bid. That is a decision they will have to make, but I want to be an ally and a supporter of them through that journey however I can. And just being sure we're maintaining, expanding essential services here in the city that we all depend on and enjoy. The second, affordable and accessible housing. It's one of the biggest issues we're facing, folks, so we need to make sure that we're seeking out opportunities and developments that everybody has somewhere safe and affordable to live. So making sure we're thinking of it as very multifaceted and collaborative. And then another thing is water quality and being a good steward of our environment, so taking care of our green spaces, expanding trails, but our water quality for the next generation. So looking for ways that we can open up the lock, make sure the folks that spend an awful lot of money to live along the water can enjoy it in its purest sense that we want it to be there. And I also just want to make sure that I am around and I'm consistently around for folks at community events, and that they know that if they have a question or want me at something, that I will be there for them.
Thank you. Okay, how would you describe your management style, especially in terms of staff leadership? Austin.
Yeah, so my management style is being a supporter and setting a vision and working collaboratively. I am not running for this office to micromanage anybody. Our city staff are hard-working individuals who have spent their part to develop themselves in the profession that they're in. So I would lean on them and listen to them and share my vision. So I think his role of mayor, keep everybody on a vision and be a good steward of the vision that the city would have elected me to serve in, because they support it, and be a good collaborative spokesperson for them, but really working closely with their city staff. I don't think the role of mayor is to micromanage city staff. I don't think that is important, but rather to work collaboratively with those folks to do an awful lot of great things. So I guess to loop back around to the question, my management style would be to set the vision, do the work, listen and learn from them, not get into the weeds of the nuances of the little things in the day-to-day operations.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Yes, could you repeat the question one more time, please?
Certainly. How would you describe your management style, especially in terms of staff leadership?
Thank you for that. Of course, I would take a collaborative approach. I know that there are always people in the room, and in fact, I seek out people that are smarter than me, right? Because I don't know what I don't know. At the same time, as mayor, I would set the vision for the community, but also listen and ask questions. I think sometimes when we are in a job for a long time, we sort of get in a routine and we do the same things because this is what we're comfortable doing. And it's what we've always done, right? We do it because it's what we've always done. And so I'm going to be there to challenge folks a little bit, to ask questions and challenge people to make sure that we're doing the very best job that we can with the resources that we have. Because we owe it to you. We owe it to you to do that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, back to you again, Rebecca. Many residents were sad to see the New Year's Eve celebration and fireworks come to an end. I think that happens every year, right, where they come to an end? Yeah. Kidding. What do you think? Do you have any ideas for similar celebrations to bring the community together?
Well, I was sad that we didn't have fireworks too, especially since it was the very first minute of our 150th year. What a great way it would have been to start our 150th year. I think that event in particular is a treasured event that was probably missed by a lot of folks this year, and I'm committed to finding a way to bring that back to Menasha. It's unique to the region, and it's important that we have it. I think that it's also important to have events that are family friendly in this community. And that's sometimes a challenge. And so when we talk about building community pride and creating community, it's important to have events where we can bring all generations together. Families, our senior citizens, young people, because we all bring something important and valuable to this community, and we should have the places, spaces, and events to celebrate that together.
Thank you. Austin?
Yeah, while I've been out knocking doors and at community events and just folks reaching out, I know that it is a very missed event, and I am very open to doing whatever we can to really look at bringing it back, and some of that will be having to seek out fundraising opportunities and things of that nature to really pull off the event to be a success. But I think having those third spaces and areas that we can collectively come together and enjoy each other's company in our community is awfully important. This year, there's an abundance of opportunities. I've been running around collecting buttons for the 150th anniversary. There's tons of businesses, nonprofits, and groups that are participating. So as mayor, we need to have those third spaces, and I'm comparing that to being the events that, whether they're a yearly thing that people look forward to every year or celebratory things that happen once in a lifetime, we need to seek those out, and we need to just come together, because it's important that we have those to keep the humanity, to really just be able to take pride in our community. I care a lot about that, so yes, I would be open to bringing that back, looking for those funding opportunities so we can all join together and enjoy our city and enjoy each other's company.
Thank you. Now it is time for a final statement from each of you. You may each have 1 minute for anything additional that you would like to say. And because we started with Austin last time, we'll start with you this time, Rebecca.
Thank you. This is truly an exciting time for our city. We're about to elect a new mayor for the first time in 16 years. My experience and long-standing service to this community makes me the most qualified and the most ready to be your next mayor. Experience matters when we talk about a $50 million budget, and experience matters when we talk about Menasha's future. With almost 2 decades in this community, I know where we've been and how far we've come. I am proud to call Menasha home, And like so many of you, I want Menasha to be the place my kids choose to raise their families someday. It's our shared experiences, along with my experience on the City Council and the County Board, that have prepared me to be mayor. I'm so honored to have the support of people and groups from across the community, people you know and trust, and I urge you to take a look at those on the handouts that are provided in the lobby. And I ask for your vote on April 2nd, because Menasha deserves an experienced, committed, and responsive leader to be our next mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Austin?
I want to close by thanking my wonderful wife, Amber, my friends, families, and supporters for being by my side through this journey. I'm running for mayor to be a public servant for my community, to be sure that government works effectively for all and that everybody has a seat at the table. My work experience, in addition to my experience on the Common Council and being involved in the community, makes me the better choice for mayor. I bring both experience and a fresh perspective. I will lead for tomorrow by being economically responsible, being out in the community consistently, promoting environmental sustainability, and looking for creative solutions for affordable and accessible housing options here in Menasha. It was my intent this evening to earn your vote, and if I have not done so, please pull me aside after the forum. I will be here for a while and happy to talk to you, and I ask for your vote on April 2nd. Thank you very much.
Thank you. This concludes the forum for Menasha Mayor. On Tuesday, April 2nd, as they've both reminded you, you may vote for one of these candidates. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. Everyone must show a voter ID with your picture on it. If you need to register on Election Day, take a proof of residence with you to the polling place. Go to vote411.org to learn more about the candidates. You may also consider voting early or absentee. Contact your clerk for more information. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Winnebago County, I want to thank everyone for participating in this forum. Thank you to the candidates, thank you to the League members who helped us pull this off, and thank you for coming and listening to learning more about your candidates. And remember, our democracy depends on citizen involvement, so please vote on April 2nd. Thank you.